It's time to make the hash browns, and the easiest way to do this is in the oven, but there are a few tricks you need to know. First, you gotta choose the right type of potato, a Yukon Gold, because it has a moderate amount of starch so that the potatoes get good and crisp in the oven. Now, the other thing is I'm gonna leave the skins on. Now, I scrub the dickens out of them to get all that dirt off, and I like using organic potatoes when you have a chance, but we wanna leave the skins on because they add a hearty flavor. So we're gonna use the food processor to get them nice and shredded. Sometimes you have to cut the potatoes down in size to get them to fit through that feed tube. Some of these look pretty small. I actually think they're gonna fit right in on their own. They might be a bit wide. All right, so this is 3 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes. Now we're gonna use the shredding disc of the food processor. We're just gonna let her rip. Last one. All right. You always get those few discs on top that don't go through, but that's okay. We'll just set those aside, put them in the composter. All right, oh, easiest way to shred potatoes. Now back into the bowl they go. Now in order to get these hash browns really crisp, you wanna soak these shreds of potatoes under cold water for about 5 minutes. That just really helps rinse off some of that excess starch so they get crisp and not chewy. You can see that starch coming right out of the potatoes. And getting rid of it will just ensure that the hash browns are good and crisp. All right, so we're gonna set this aside for 5 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm gonna get the baking sheet ready. All right, so here's a nice big baking sheet. And I'm just gonna spray it with vegetable oil spray. I like doing it over the sink because it helps contain the mess. All right, this will prevent the hash browns from sticking. These potatoes have been sitting for 5 minutes, so it's time to get them out of the water. And I'm not just gonna dump the starchy water back over the potatoes. Instead, I'm gonna lift the potatoes out of the starchy water, give them a squeeze, and put them in the colander. All right, now I'm gonna drain. You can see all that starchy water. It's nice to get rid of that. Just gonna rinse and dry the bowl. And now we're gonna put the potatoes back into the bowl, but I'm gonna squeeze them extra dry using a clean kitchen towel. So take big handful of potatoes, that's about a third, maybe a little more, and wrap the towel around it. Then we're just gonna squeeze the heck out of it. Get all that excess moisture out. That moisture will inhibit browning in the oven. So this is how you get good, crisp hash browns. All right, dried potatoes into the bowl. All right, that's it, they're ready for the oven. The potatoes are good and dry. Now time to get them ready for the oven. We're gonna add 6 tablespoons of olive oil. Now, I don't often measure olive oil, but for this recipe, I find it's really helpful because if you add too much, they get greasy, but if you don't add enough, they don't get browned. So 6 tablespoons is the perfect amount. Next up, a teaspoon of table salt. And just a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. All right, I'm gonna toss these all together, make sure everything's nice and evenly coated and seasoned. You can also continue to do this when you put it on the sheet pan. All right, that looks pretty good. Now time to put it onto the sheet pan. And the trick is here, you don't wanna pack them down, you just really wanna spread them out. So you can see I'm just spreading them out evenly over this nice big sheet pan. All right, those are nicely spread out. And again, not packed down. They're ready for the oven, 450 degrees, middle rack, 35 minutes. Oh, look at those. Nice and brown, especially around the edges. The edges are my favorite part. Now they're not quite done. What you wanna do is we're gonna flip them over. That way they'll get nice and crisp on both sides. Second side takes a lot less time. So what I'm doing is I'm using a spatula. Just gonna make them easy to flip over. Oh, I love potatoes. Very German. Wasn't dinner unless there were potatoes on the table in my house. So good. All right, get the last little bit here. It's the best thing about hash browns. They're crispy on the edges, but they're nice and tender in the middle. It's that dual texture. It's okay if they get a little messy. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing but net. Okay, back in the oven those go, about 6 minutes. Oh, the edges are dark just like I like them. While they're warm, we're gonna hit them with a little more salt and pepper. All right, time to serve up. Yes, I'm going for the crispy edges. Now this recipe really will serve a good 4 to 6 people. In my house, it serves 2. My husband and I made a tray of these the other day. We ate the whole thing. We just couldn't help ourselves. Especially fun if you melt a little cheese on the top, throw a little hot sauce, some green onions. That becomes its own meal. This is the money fork. Oh, I could eat my own weight in this. This is the Brunch Champions. See you next time. Thanks for watching. What'd you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you're excited to cook this week. You can get today's recipes and more for free at our website.